Welcome to my training video. This is Tara Lewis, and this is a training video for American Heart Association instructors on how to use Enrollware. First, you'll want to go to your desktop and type in www.enrollware.com. Now, if you have not been set up with the temporary password, you'll need to get that from the St. Francis County Ambulance District. Once you have your temporary username and password, you will come up here to Login. Click it, and you'll type in your username and your password, and then click Sign In. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, this is where everything is. So classes and students, if you click it, you'll get a drop-down box, and these are everything you should see. You should see classes, student search, student export, TC product orders. On settings, you should have these three things: course types, locations, users. If you don't have one of those, I had an issue with mine. Mine wasn't showing this. And so they had me completely log out, re-log back in, and then it was there. If you log out and then log back in and you don't see these three things under settings, you'll want to call the St. Francis County Ambulance District and have them help you and get that set up for you correctly. So if we click on course types, this is what you will see. These are all the different courses that can be taught. If you're teaching a class for our nurses, you will need to click BLS for healthcare providers. Everybody else is Heart Saver, CPR, AED. And how we click that is to go here and look at the action. And it will give you the course name, the discipline, card options, and this is what you want it to say: Heart Saver, CPR, AED. And then you just update the course type. Click on Users. And as you can see, the three instructors for West County are Marissa, Tara, and Tiffany. Make sure that your name is there. If you need to change any information, you come over here to the Action tab, and that opens up everything so that you can adjust your username, your login, your email, your location as far as your address and phone number. On that particular page, which I do not have pulled up because it has personal information, you'll want to make sure you click the button at the bottom that says Update User. If you do not click Update User, then it will not update anything. That's your save button. So make sure you do that anytime you make a change. So now let's click on classes and students. And we have, out of our drop-down box, we're going to click on classes. And then you can see here, rosters are required to be finalized within 7 business days. All e-cards can be managed through the AHA Instructor Network, and that's something that the Ambulance District does for us. So let's walk you through it. So you can see we have all the different classes dating back to 2014. You can also look it up through particular instructor. So what we want to do now is add a class. Okay, so let's say my class is going to be Heart Saver. It's going to be CPR, AED, unless we are teaching nurses. The instructor, I'm going to click myself. The location, I'm going to click high school. I'm going to add the child CPR and AED as well as infant CPR. The start time, I'm just going to click today's date, make it easy. I'm going to say it's 3:00 p.m. and I'll be done on this same day, and it's a 3-hour class, so 6:00 p.m. Make sure you put in the total number of hours, which is 3. Now, if you're not teaching the class by yourself and you have an assistant instructor, you'll want to click it. If I have more than one, I can click that as well. We like to have a 1-to-1 ratio for mannequin, but if that needs to change, we can do a 2-to-1 ratio, etc. Any notes that you need to have, go here. And you update the class, which again is your save button. So if I scroll down, All my information I had is right here. I'll come up and I'll quick add a student. So let's just say it's Jane Doe. Excuse me, Jane Doe. Email address is janedoe@yahoo.com. You don't need a phone number and you don't need an address. You need a first, last name, and you need an email. Now, the score is different. If this is a BLS certification for nursing staff, you'll need to actually put what their passing score was. So whether they pass or not, you need to have the actual score in numbers and write whether it's complete or incomplete. If it's a Heart Saver class and you're not giving a written test, you simply type whether they completed it or not, and then click here, complete. So whatever is over here should match this part, and then you're going to add the student. And you can see when I added the student, there she is. Okay, now if there's anything I would need to change, I can come here and I can edit her information just like I could my personal information as an instructor. And this is the Update Student tab I was talking about earlier. So let's say I misspelled her name and it's Jane. Okay, then I can update that student and there she is. So I can get all of this done ahead of time before my class even starts. So what's important is within 7 days, I have to come in here. I have to scan all of my documentation, all my paperwork, everything people signed in with that day, any test scores if they have it, and I will upload those documents that are saved, and I will simply choose a file as I normally would have any other time. And then once I've done that, the lead instructor, not the assistant, but the lead instructor will come in and sign his or her name and then update the class. So I'll come back over here to Classes and Students. I'll click on Classes. And when I scroll down, now you can see here I am. I have a class. I have one student enrolled, and we're good to go. Now let's say I have a student that doesn't show up. Okay, let's say it's Jane Doe. If Jane Doe is the no-show and she's not there, I just go into this action button. I come down here where it says delete, and I write delete, and then I update the student, and then boom, she's not there anymore. Now, I have to update the class. Remember, that's your save button. If you don't click that, everything I just did is still going to be there when I pull it back up. If something happened, we had a tornado drill, or school was canceled because of inclement weather, you can come in and delete a class. Here's a caveat. You have to delete every single student one by one, just like I showed you with Jane Doe, before you can click this button to delete the class. Okay, take a look at this button. We are back in the classes. I've opened up the class where it says Finalize Roster. When you click that button, that tells the ambulance district how many cards we're going to need and who gets a card. We cannot click Finalize Roster until everything about that class is done. So make sure you do not click that unless you're ready to be complete with that class. If you have any questions, you can ask myself, Miss Miller, or talk to Dan Parrish or Stephen Dickey at the St. Francis County Ambulance District. If you have any more questions, just let me know. But that's how we enroll students for AHA.